처음 영상이 시작되면 화면에는 아무런 메뉴가 나오지 않습니다. 이때 영상 화면에 마우스를 대면 아래에 메뉴가 나옵니다. 만약 화면에 마우스 클릭을 하게 되면 영상은 멈추기 때문에 마우스 커서만 대셔야 합니다. 그 다음에 자막 메뉴를 클릭하시면 화면 중앙에 영어로 된 자막이 나타납니다. 이 상태에서 자막을 선택하기 위해 설정을 클릭합니다. 설정을 클릭하면 자막을 선택하는 메뉴가 나옵니다. 여기서 자막을 클릭합니다. 그리고 자동 번역을 클릭합니다. 그러면 다양한 언어가 나오는데 여기서 한국어를 선택합니다. 한국어를 선택하면 화면에서 보듯이 한국어 자막이 시작됩니다.
I'm Peter Drucker. Being an executive means having no time. It means that everybody moves in on your time. Everybody wants time from you. There's always more work to be done than there are hours in the day, and everything always takes, so much longer than it should, and then twice as long as the boss thinks it should. And yet, there is a difference in the way effective executives use their time and in the way most of us do. Right now, we want to show you a busy, able, hard-driving executive and his fairly typical working day.
Right. No. We had 10,000 of those units, but we shipped them out on the 31st. Go ahead, Ralph. I'm listening.
Well, the board meeting is set for the 22nd.
Well, I'll take care of your confirmation myself, personally. We'll have all the proposals ready, so don't worry. Yeah. Hey, Margie, what time am I due at the Kiwanis?
You have an hour.
Good. Well, it was good talking to you, Bill. Yeah, and I'll see you at the club on Thursday. Yeah, right. Okay, goodbye.
Mr. Arnold's on the phone.
I'll take it in a minute.
You did get the note on the stock tender.
Yeah. Here's my reply. Yeah, and Margie, get me Kerner. I want to get into the situation myself. And let's hold everything until this afternoon, Ralph, huh? What we need around here is a 36-hour day. Tom Arnold, how are you old son of a gun? I see. Uh-huh. Well, Tom, we'd certainly like to do that for you. It'll take a bit of doing, of course. But we pride ourselves on service around here. Yeah, well, I'll take care of it myself. Now, you rest easy. You'll get your stuff toot sweet. Now, that's a promise. Right. I'm going down on the floor, so... One, get together what I'll need for the Kiwanis meeting. Two, get Taylor and set up a plans meeting for 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. And three, notify the heads of all departments that I'll be reading the daily reports myself from now on, as well as the weekly reports. That ought to keep them on their toes, huh? Oh, and tell my wife not to expect me for dinner, huh?
Mr. Lansing, a change like this.
What's all the fuss about, Johnny? It develops that Arnold needs his .05 meg stuff before the rest of his order. Now, otherwise, he'll have to close down his lines. Now, if he needs it, I think he ought to have it, and I promised him he would.
Mr. Lansing, the production schedule is set up so that the .05 megs work with another batch of orders. Now, if we try to do those first, we have to reset the machines.
What's so tough about that? It's a 3-hour reset job.
More like a whole day.
Oh, Myra, it's a 3-hour job. I know every piece of machinery in this plant blindfolded, and I can make that change myself in 3 hours. Why can't your people?
It isn't just the rejigging, Mr. Lansing. It's the material flow that has to be rerouted. The setup men shifted.
So we stretch a little for a customer like Tom Arnold.
Okay, we stretch. But that means we throw off somebody else's order. Delay 2-3 days, maybe more.
All right, we'll work that out. Now, what orders will be held up?
Well, this one, and this one. All of Charlie Fisher's stuff.
All right. Get going on the rejigging, and I'll tell Charlie to straighten it out with the customer.
Every week it's something else. You can't get yourself organized around here. You can't get yourself set up. Down here every Monday and Thursday, and he says, you can do this, you can't do that.
Well, we just learned this minute, as a matter of fact, that there's going to be a slight shipping delay in your 8410 order, and... Oh, boy, he loves this a lot. Well, no, it's just one of those things. I mean, nobody's infallible. Well, we just didn't want you waiting for the order, and... It's going to blow up the whole telephone system.
We have that. Hello, Ira? Ira, this is Ev. Ev Lansing. I happened to be in Charlie Fisher's office, and I walked into this hassle. What? Will you calm down, Ira? Now, listen. I'm free for lunch, and I'm going to be out in your part of the valley anyway, so why don't we get together and straighten this out? Yeah. And, listen, after lunch, we can go over to that old barn where we picked up those antique andirons last year, do you remember? Yeah, see what we can pick up now. Yeah, good. See you in about an hour. Damn it all, Charlie, why couldn't you handle that? Now I have to go out for lunch, and I'm pressed for time as it is.
I was handling it.
He was steaming like an iron. Seems I'm always picking your chestnuts out of the fire. This is Lansing. Will you get me in my office?
It weren't my chestnuts.
Margie, call the Kiwanis and tell them I'll be somewhat late. And push everything else up. I have a crash lunch. Yeah, I'll let you know where it is. Who? Uh-huh. All right, send a wire confirming. Right. Well, you gotta admit, I saved you a couple of hours and a lot of aggravation.
Saved again.
What do you mean the meeting's been delayed?
Well, Mr. Lansing has an emergency situation, but he's asked me to set up another time for you later this afternoon.
Later, huh? We got another rain check.
Par for the course.
Al Evans, look, you know as well as I do how late we are with this design decision. If we don't get rolling immediately, we're never going to be able to finish it.
Oh, look, Mathers, I'm not the president. I just work here, same as you do.
Ah, the congregation meets.
Doesn't meet.
Oh?
Mr. Mathis, I have another time for you this afternoon, 5 p.m. sharp.
Now it's 5 p.m. I'm really not involved in this at all, and I have 6 other things to do. But I'll be here looking wise because he loves to keep us all in the picture.
I think Mr. Mathis is about to bust a gut.
Margie, when he comes in, nail him to the chair, will you?
Mr. Mathis, if you knew the burden that Mr. Lansing carries around here, you'd understand something about that chair.
Margie, you ever get tired working forever, you come on over to me.
Well, no, it's true. A great deal of this company depends upon Mr. Lansing, and he takes that responsibility very seriously. You all get vacations. When's the last time that he had one?
Lesson number 1, never attack a tiger cub in the presence of his mother or his secretary.
5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm. I wined and dined that guy.
Sorry I'm late. We'll just have to make it up by working twice as hard. Where's my evaluation paper?
Right here, and your plane reservation is all set.
Good. Oh, just one call, huh? Call advertising, will you, Jackson? You know, we have a very weak area there, and I'm going to have to get into it myself. Well, now, shoot. We're here to decide which of your current product developments we're to go ahead with and which to chop.
Time is very short as it is. We're thinking of 3 years, you know.
Say, if I got everybody's reports and recommendations here...
Jackson's not in, but he'll get back to you later this afternoon.
If I don't get a return call in 30 minutes, it's going to be hell to pay. He's really goofing on his job.
Mr. Lansing?
Mathis, I think your mini-transformer idea is very intriguing.
I'd suggest a good hard look at the market for that before making a decision.
I've done that, and the potential is all there.
Well, I have heard other things.
No, it is an interesting idea, but in terms of development to completion, it might present certain problems.
Oh, everything presents problems. Boy, when you were working out the computer units with Taylor here, didn't that present problems?
Well, we have the time factor here, and the way the casing's been designed, that's not
Mathis, you're
totally worked
Mr.
out
Doom and Gloom. I've never seen you completely positive about a project yet. If the specs are wrong, as they go now, we can always adjust them.
But in a development like this, metallurgical problems have to be very...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but this wire just came in, and I thought you'd like to see it.
Damn right I want to see it. Cable him immediately to suspend negotiations. I want to sit in on that conference myself.
Mr. Lansing, I think we should take just as much time right now as possible.
Right. Margie, when's my next?
6 o'clock. And don't forget that newspaper man's coming up for a drink.
Ooh, and that's important. Well, I tell you, if we don't finish by 6 o'clock, we'll all go over to my place tonight and burn a little midnight oil, huh?
You mustn't forget that fund drive dinner tonight.
Wait a minute. Hold everything. I think we're all pretty familiar with all the possibilities of each product. I don't think it's necessary to go over the same ground 1,000 times. Logic tells a story. Now, you want a decision so that we can get on with it, huh? Fine. Let's decide here and now to shoot the works with the Mini and spend the rest of our time today dealing with questions relative to it.
My question is how much budget it'll take to bring it to a working prototype.
There are plenty of other questions, believe
and
me.
they'll get answered. Mathis, if you only have a positive approach. Or is that too much to ask from a research PhD?
Mathis, you must be joking. This is the most incredible memo I've read in 25 years of handling company funds.
No, I'm not joking at all. We went into this development stage with an hour's consideration. Every time I raised a question, Lansing took another call. Now, we're going to need exactly what I put down there. I don't know, maybe more to get the bugs out of this piece of hardware. If we don't, everything we've done so far will be wasted.
Well, that can't be allowed to happen.
Well, I told him we had trouble with the casing material. I wanted to bring my people in, let him make an evaluation himself. I'll be prepared. No, he had to go to a fund drive dinner. And I tell you this, we still don't know what other factors will block our schedule.
Well, Lansing will have to okay this kind of dough himself. I'm not going to take the responsibility.
Why didn't you tell me there might be such severe problems? That's your job, Mathis, to keep me informed.
I did tell you.
Well, I'm not talking about the money. I'm talking about the time it's taking.
The tour wrapped up.
Nobody keeps me really informed as to the extent of the problems around here. They always wait until something goes wrong. Well, I'm not going to make any snap decisions on this. I want a meeting tomorrow. And I want everyone involved, even the least little bit, to be here. I want everyone kept in the picture. Peter, one of the basic problems, as I see it, is that I'm dependent upon too much. In the end, I always have to do everything myself.
And what would happen if you didn't?
Look, I gave Mathis his head, and it's costing us plenty now. After all, there's only 24 hours in the day.
Well, no, there aren't that many. It only seems like it. But the important thing is whether you know how many hours you really have and where they are going.
Peter, my time is scheduled and rationed like a war plan. I have every minute figured. I must, if I'm going to have time for everything.
Everything may just not really be as important as some things are.
Well, of course, I figure out which is important and which isn't, and I put the weight where it belongs.
Do you? Do you really know how much solid time you give to those activities that really deserve it?
Of course I do.
Now, isn't it possible that a lot of time is just slipping through your fingers?
Ha ha! Tell that to my wife. I haven't had a meal home in 10 days, for instance. Wasted time, Peter? Why, I'm on the run from morning till night.
Well, that I can see, but how much mileage you get out of all this running? That's another question. Tell me, Ev, would you be willing to try a little experiment on yourself? Well, have your secretary just put down in writing for 1 week, minute per minute, everything you do, so that at the end of the week you can look at it and see where the time really goes.
Margie, would you come in for a minute, please? Yeah. Peter, I know where my time goes, and I have a reason for everything. Margie, Mr. Drucker and I are experimenting. We're going to keep a log of my time for a week. You're to put down everything I do.
Everything?
Yeah.
Every single thing?
Yeah. Now, wait a minute. This doesn't seem right, this personnel situation. Why, I spent hours talking to them.
You talked to them for 20 minutes on Thursday and 10 minutes on Friday, just the way we have it here.
Now, wait a minute, Ev. Did you really take that big government contract and at a special price in a 5-minute telephone conversation on Friday without any facts or any study?
Oh, damn it, I didn't have any time.
And now what about that breakfast meeting you called Tuesday morning at 7:30 a.m.? You spent half an hour on quality control, and that wasn't the purpose of the meeting at all.
Well, I remember, but it came up.
And what about practically a day you gave to the fund drive speech?
Well, Peter, I have a responsibility to that fund drive. I've been asked to chair that for 10 years now.
Well, maybe it's time somebody else took that responsibility. Has it ever occurred to you that they might ask you only because they know you expect to be asked?
This log, I admit, is very surprising.
There's never as much time as you think. And the time log is always a surprise, no matter how many times you have run it on yourself. And when you look at this log and have recovered from the shock, and it's going to be a shock, I can tell you, then first ask, what are the things that take my time and contribute nothing? And ask, what would happen if they weren't done at all? You'd be surprised how many things the world can do without, and how few things are really being missed. And if the answer is, if I don't do this, well, nothing is going to happen. Be ruthless and cut it out. Learn to say no. Say it pleasantly, or say it nastily, but say it. And the second question, which is perhaps even more important, is, am I giving the right kind of time to the truly important things? Our friend Lansing, I assure you, spent an enormous amount of time on the right things, and he got nothing for all the time. He spent it in dribs and drabs and 10 minutes here and 20 minutes there, and nothing gets done. All the important things in your work require a good, solid chunk of time, an hour, maybe a day. And if you don't give it to them, well, you get nothing to show for all the time and hard work. The difference between the Lansings and the truly effective people is not that the effective people manage their time better. The main difference is the effective ones know how little time they have. They don't believe that they have 24 hours in their day. They know they have 1 or 2 at most. They know that time is a very peculiar resource. No matter how great the demand, there ain't no more of it. They know that all the important things they have to do take a lot of time, solid, continuous time, whether you discuss a new product or a major personnel decision or almost anything of importance. They know it can't be done if you just give it 5 minutes over the telephone or try to do it between meetings. And so they know they have to know where their time goes. Maybe they'll get a little more as they get experience. But the most important thing is to know how little there really is and to use it for the things that really matter. There is nobody, believe me, who has the time problem the executive has. Nobody has everybody else move in on him. Nobody lives in the kind of glass house in which you live, in which everybody can move in on your time, and everybody does. And you'll never find the answer to the time problem created by your best customer when he calls up and wants to talk to you about his golf game last Saturday, or about how to get his daughter into the college of her choice. Sure, you know why he's doing it. He's got some job on his desk he doesn't want to start. Doesn't help you any. You've got to listen to him. All you can do is hope that when you don't feel in the mood for work and you call him up to waste his time, he'll reciprocate the compliment. But you've got to listen. And that's the way it goes day in and day out, and there is no escape from it. If I were asked what one thing an executive could do that would really and quickly make him more effective, make him achieve more, and make him enjoy more what he's doing, I'd say make sure you know where your time goes. Don't depend on memory. It's treacherous. Make sure your secretary puts down what you're doing, and make sure you look at it and look at it again.